and welcome to Portman Road. This sound indicates an important announcement.
Counting down to Christmas, busy making plans. I got the mother-in-law knocking at my door. We all need to lend a hand.
Counting down to Christmas, queuing at the shops. It'll be next year till we get out of here. I gotta pull out all the stops. La 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 la, it never ever stops.
It's Christmas Day, what do you say to a glass of red or white wine? So spread a little cheer to those who hold dear. Well, that's gonna suit me just fine. It's Christmas Day, and we're on the way to see all the family. Missed by kids, cry past where the Wi-Fi. That's gonna suit me just fine. We all sit down for Christmas telly.
Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome into this afternoon's Talking Town, the flagship ITFC podcast. So, no game yesterday. A bit of a bad announcement by our Prime Minister last night. So, we're all feeling the effects of it. We've all got our own things that we're dealing with. So, we're just here to bring a light-hearted show, a friendly face, a good laugh. And I can see many of you already punning in the chat. And Joe Dick 92 would love that as our goal celebration music. Yeah, I can see how that would go. I I think Matt Phillips is sitting there probably now counting his royalties and thinking what a great time that would be. Callie's in the room. Good afternoon, Callie. Hope you're well. Lee Anderson, Andrew Arbon, Lee Brown, all in the room. Fantastic stuff. We love to see you get involved. So I want this show today to be a real light-hearted affair, a laid-back affair. It's all been doom and gloom recently at Portman Road and around Ipswich. So let's just break it down. Let's just have a chilled afternoon. And joining me in this laid-back chat, if you like, we've given Cruncher the afternoon off. We've sent him to the pub. Well, can he go to the pub? I think he's still tier 2. Of course, a substantial meal must be consumed with this. But we've sent him off for a well afternoon break. And joining me is, of course, our media mogul, Mr. Matthew, how you doing?
How are we doing? You okay?
I'm okay. Now you've been placed into tier 4 in a 3-tier system. So
Yeah.
he's created a tier out of nowhere. How's it? How are you?
Yeah. I've been a bit poorly this week. The whole Phillips family have been ill, so I've got these on standby. Shout out. But yeah, I'm feeling better, thanks. I couldn't have done the shows of the week. I was a little bit. Well, I said to you earlier, I was a bit red-nosed. Maybe that's good, seasonal, bit Rudolph. But
Rudolph,
yeah, I'm on the road to recovery, thanks.
Good. And as always, this show is sponsored by iwantonetwork.com. Go there for all your networking needs. If you're a business owner, I used to work in a business centre, Matt, and I know the importance of networking if you're a self-employed business owner. So I really do recommend people go and check out that website, iwantonetwork.com. Matt, last night's news from our Prime Minister, Mr. Johnson. I'm going to be honest. When I heard the news, I kind of lost it. I've got OCD anyway, so I'd been out for a dog walk, and we'd seen some people, and they just walked past us, probably within 2 meters. But because I'm OCD, suddenly COVID was all around me, and so I came back, heard that news, was scrubbing the kitchen, sort of red raw, and I lost it for a little bit because all my Christmas plans sort of flew out of the window. And I reckon a lot of people are at home feeling the same sort of effects. How did you take the news? Yeah,
I was kind of the same, really. I mean, I think in the week he'd said it'd be inhumane to cancel Christmas or something along those lines, and then literally 72 hours later, that's what he's done for some of the country.
That's the way it goes.
You know, my dad's no longer with us, so he always used to say to me, "Don't worry about things that are not in your control." And unfortunately, that's not in our control. So we're going to have to make the best of what we can do over the holiday period, and just hope things will get better in 2021. As you know, I go into London quite a lot on various different things, and a lot of people, the cabbies around London, all seem to when you go into the big city, people seem to have a different take on things than they might have in more kind of rural Suffolk or rural Essex, where I am. And a lot of people seem to think that by about March, end of March into April, the kind of conversation was that things would start looking back into some kind of normality. So maybe just hold on to that, see how we go.
Absolutely. Speaking of the dreaded COVID, sadly, our manager and some players have got it. We wish them all the best. We wish them nothing but a healthy recovery. Obviously, that throws into doubt sort of the Northampton game. We'll cover Northampton with it being on a bit later on in the show, because at the moment we've not heard anything different.
No.
But obviously that does throw a little bit of a situation up. It's it's one of those things. Obviously, yesterday's game was cancelled due to the COVID. It was just what it is. So we'll try and bring something a little bit different to you all today. A little bit of a light-hearted. I've got several things. I know Matt's got several things. Where do you want to start with? Do you want to start with something that Sid brought to our attention on Twitter? Should we go with that?
Literally the crunching tackle.
Literally, I mean, guys, we'll play you the clip and then we'll sort of break it down if you like. I mean, and break it down. It kind of is. Let me where have I put it?
It's the only kind of thing that was broken, I think, after this.
Kind of crazy, really. But I mean, big up Sid for sort of bringing it to our attention, right?
Yeah.
Where is it? Here it is. I mean, it's loading. It's loading.
Here it comes. It's worth the wait, everybody.
Oh, it really is. It really is.
Grassroots.
Just one more time. He's killed him. That's GVH, man.
Yeah, he's so funny. I mean, this is what I do like grassroots football. I spent a lot of years before I worked.
Dived.
Dived. I spent a lot of years around grassroots football, and the people who operate within it are, the volunteers. The FA always say we would be nowhere without the volunteers, the lifeblood of the game. But when you just see stuff like that, it's just like, it's crazy, isn't it? You're right. It's just like GBH, absolutely ridiculous.
I think so. He gets up. He's almost like he's complaining that he's getting sent off. Like,
yeah, I mean, the refs stay out there with the red, to be fair to him, isn't he? But I mean, it's these scenarios that normally kicks off into some kind of melee, a big riot and the police have to be called. I know that's happened before. But yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? I mean, shout out to the people that capture these things on social media. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Who knew that was going to follow when he done that clearance?
I mean, that's to be fair. Some will say the striker took too long. He's got too many touches. If to keep his herring towards you like that, just dink it over him. Andrew Arbin was like a drop kick. Michael Finch, was that Chambers playing that hoofball from the back? No, that's a long pass, as Mick Mills would call it, not a hoofball. Old school tackle when you could tackle. That's not an old school tackle. That's a.
I tell you what it reminds me of. I mean, this was even as bad as I think what we've just seen. But 82 World Cup, my first World Cup I can remember, and Harold Schumacher, the German goalkeeper, was racing out of his area, Germany-France, semi-final I think it was, and he took out Patrick Battiston, the French attacker, and he literally had got nowhere near the ball. He literally just karate kicked him in the head, and he had to be carried off. I don't think he even got booked. It was like in the 80s. Wow. He might have got a yellow. I mean, that's what he reminded me of. Crazy. You was a big grassroots football man, weren't you, Martin, back in the day?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, coach, manager, referee, player, all of it really. Done it all over my time before my injury. So, that meant I couldn't. But yeah, done it all. I played in a game.
I had to go on the PA once at a Essex FA Cup final.
Of course you
did. The PA
did.
man wasn't there, so I had to go.
If one person has to, that's be Matt Phillips.
It was Witham Town Reserves. I can't remember who it was against. Maybe Takeley, which is out near Stansted. People who know Essex is out near Stansted, right? And in the team for Witham Town Reserves that day was a guy called Oliver Mers. What happened to him?
Coggleshall Town now.
He missed the penalty. He missed the penalty in the game.
He also came second in X Factor. He bottles it at the big moments. Where is Joe McElderry these days?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They've just fallen away, some of these lads, haven't they? I don't know what's happened to them. Yeah, HMP Chancellor. Yeah, that's not too far from me. On the other side of town.
Certainly isn't. I tell you what. Talk about Joe McElderry. I remember that X Factor because that was one Christmas. So they always sort of make the climax at Christmas, don't they? For the Christmas, great mug, by the way. Christmas #1. And I was a big Ollie Murs fan. I was big on Ollie Murs. The rest of the family were all Joe McElderry fans, and it was like, I reckon Murs will go further. Well, there you go. It's come to fruition. Crunch is in the room. Good afternoon, Crunch. And Nick Miller overweight some of those players. Leighton Durham.
Yeah.
Andre says Sunderland was worse. Not a chance. No chance. He didn't get anywhere near the Sunderland player for it to be worse. Michael Finch. I used to play against football against Kevin Painter.
Oh,
nice.
It's Kevin Painter in the darts. The darts have started now, hasn't it? Presumably he's in the darts.
I presume he is. Yeah, I presume he is. I don't know. I've got a little story up for us. Now, I like my Christmas is ruined articles in the newspaper. You got to love those. This one's a little bit close to home. This one is in Taverham Hall near Norwich, and it's on the BBC website. It's creepy drive-through, grotto, an absolute fiasco. Now, that's just a lovely headline, right? So here we go. We've got families have demanded refunds from a shambolic drive-through Santa's grotto after queuing for hours. It opened on Friday and promised a 1 kilometre sparkling light trail through the grounds of Taverham Hall near Norwich. The event's Facebook page, however, was later flooded with complaints about traffic chaos, creepy performers, and Poundland gifts. Right now, get this. This is it for me, right? We wanted the sparkle, the magic of Christmas, but I actually started laughing because I can comprehend how rubbish it was. There was a Scrooge guy who called us all mutants, said Santa had crashed his sleigh and the presents are in the mud, and there was a man in chains by a tree just staring at the car.
What?
It was creepy, and it was meant to be for little kids. This is somebody who went. The lights on at the end it wasn't even switched on, and the Santa couldn't be less interested.
They've lost the will to live here, haven't they?
Another parent said the gifts were rubbish, not even wrapped, just in brown paper bags. They were things probably bought in Poundland.
That was my go-to show this week while I was poorly. I was drinking brandy on the sofa, watching Inside Poundland on Channel 5 or Channel 4. I can't remember what it was.
I mean, big up Poundland. Nothing wrong with Poundland presents, but you've paid over a lot of money for these tickets. I think you paid like 70 quid, I think, for 3 tickets.
Crazy.
Scrooge saying your Santa Claus has crashed his sleigh and the presents are in the mud. Like,
so, who said that? Well, right, we'll just go to the committee. We think this could be a good idea for the grotto. Sign it off. We'll do it.
Terrible. I mean, Talking Town gets its complaints, right? But we haven't reached that level yet.
We draw the line there, wouldn't we? Apparently, Kevin isn't in the world. That's disappointing. He's fallen down the rankings. He's fallen down the rankings. Hasn't qualified. Always next year. He'll be back.
That's a shame.
He'll be back. Yeah, he is.
Yeah, absolutely. A big up Kevin Painter. Another story this week, actually, in the news. While we're talking about stories in the news, Kevin Beattie's statue, which obviously big up. Love a Kevin Beattie statue. I mean, we really are spoilt for what we could have round the ground, right? And I don't subscribe to this thinking of, well, how come you can have this statue but not this? Get them all there, quite frankly. Get the whole of Common Road littered.
Well, we like our American sports, don't we? You just know there'd be a whole, my team's the Cubs, as is yours in baseball. Yep. If you go to Wrigley Field, the statues all around the shop. So,
absolutely, Absolutely, yeah. And you kind of, you can never have too many.
No.
Too many greats. And I remember it back in the Premier League years. There was talk of obviously buying that car park, wasn't there, by Borton Road, and putting a hotel complex on it and all these sorts of things. And I think if one club has enough history to sort of put a mini Hall of Fame or museum together, it's Ipswich, and it's up there. One of those could have been.
Have you been on the tour? Have you been on the tour around the stadium?
I haven't. No. Is it any good?
It's really good. It's really good. And what you actually see is when you walk in the corridors of Borton Road, and I've done that as a punter on that, and also when England under-21s played there, I worked the game. When you walk the corridors of Borton Road, where the executives are and all that, it's literally all the history is on the walls. So they've literally framed everything: newspaper articles, pictures, Bobby Robson photos, stuff you've never seen before. Hasn't made the books. I mean, you could spend the day just walking around the corridors of Borton Road, just looking at it. It's a bit more whistle stop on the tour. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, I remember going to the Nou Camp Museum, the Barcelona Museum, and like my missus, who's not really a football fan particularly, and she came along. She's kind of, after about 4 hours, she dragged me out, and I think I was only on about 1930. So I feel like I'll just go back there myself one day.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, that's really worth it. Yeah, it's really, I mean, yeah, I feel like Ipswich could. But I never kind of subscribed to that hotel being on that car park, because that's always been my go-to car park. The Cattle Market.
Me too. Yeah, me too. But it would have been great for the town, great for the club. Yeah, cool. It's up there in that whole list of what could have been, what should have been moments.
But we've got what? So we've got Sir Alf, and we've got Sir Bobby, and we've got Kevin coming now. So I mean, who else would you subscribe to that could make it there? Ray Crawford, a Ted Phillips joint one.
I mean, it depends on what you call a legend, doesn't it? Because
Richard Moss, Leighton Durrance has put in the comment.
Richard Moss. Don't give him ideas. But Marcus Stewart, he was a good player for us. Was he great enough for a statue? Probably not. So, but then for some people, that's all they've grown up with. So, it's a lot like those 12 pillars, right? You have different generations and different legends. I think anyone who won the UEFA Cup or FA Cup kind of has to be in the mention.
Yeah.
Because of the things they achieved for the town. Yeah. And then, of course, you've got the early 90s. They weren't as successful as the UEFA Cup, but they still won things. John Lyall only managed 2 clubs in his whole career. Turned us around, didn't he? Because when he took over, we were, bobbing, if you say. And then when he left, we were bobbing again. So
we need a little bit more of the fan art. Like, I mean... like the Bobby Robson rap that's on above the shop. I mean, that's fantastic as you drive down Borton Road, isn't it, to see that? Maybe we need more of those kind of things. Like at Bournemouth, in the Four Corners at Bournemouth Stadium. What's this ground even called these days? I always call it Dean Court, but they got four of their biggest moments. Yeah, I don't know what it's called. It's sort of like
Mick Mills from Jack Messenger, Lee Brown, the 2 Flying Dutchman, Saw Fit, statue of Pat Gobbold, Mrs. Ipswich in my eyes.
I wish she would write a book. What a book that would be of her memories at Borton Road. It's been floated apparently. Phil told me, Phil Hammett, those were days something they were trying to get her to put her memories down on paper. I mean, it would be fantastic, read, considering the history. But yeah, at Bournemouth, they got their 4 biggest moments on the 4 corners of the stands. So I feel like we should have more of that going on rather than just a plain brick of outside Borton Road. Do you know what I mean? We've got loads of stuff.
And that's the great club that we are. But speaking of things that should have been in the news today, or in the news in 2001 today, was the Daggers game will not be moved. Town's FA Cup tie with Dagenham and Redbridge. We played at their Victoria Road ground. Isn't that the game that everybody says things changed for Ipswich?
What the FA Cup one?
The Dagenham and Redbridge FA Cup game.
We won 4. So that was the game that's the game when Serini ducked out of the game, wasn't it? And Marshall.
Well, he said he would arrest us, didn't he, or something like
that. They were my back-to-back away games. We'd just done Inter in the San Siro, and then my next away game was that in the FA Cup in the new year. Yeah, I mean,
that's the game, isn't it? That is the game where everyone goes, "That's where it changed."
Maybe.
So it's coming up. It's coming up. But you've been involved in quite a few famous things, right? Through your role with the FA.
Yeah.
Yes. So I've got a picture here. Should I show it? And then you can run us through what it's all about?
Yeah, there we go. Look, statues. So when I first joined the FA in 2007, this had been commissioned. It hadn't been started. So it was the bust of Sir Alf Ramsey, which if you're a bit of an eagle-eyed person when England play on TV or the FA Cup's on, you can see it looking down at the bottom of the tunnel out onto the pitch. So yeah, that was one of my things, was to get that rolling, because it'd been commissioned, hadn't been started. So that was George Cohen in that picture, who was England vice captain to Bobby Moore. So we took him along to have a little look at it, to get people interested in the project. It was at a studio in West Sussex, and the sculptor was called Philip Jackson, lovely guy. And and we got that, and then went off and got cast in bronze, and we opened it. Fabio came along, and we got most of the 66 squad along to launch it, and Ray Crawford came. Ray Crawford came along to represent Ipswich, which was brilliant. But yeah, it was great. It's very difficult to get statues correct. I mean, some people saw that and thought it looked nothing like him. I think even Ray thought when it was cast in bronze, he wasn't sure about the likeness. I mean, that's what prompted this conversation, wasn't it? Because we saw we saw the maquette of Kevin beating. I was like, does that look like Kevin from this angle? You need to see it, the whole thing. You need to be able to walk around it, which you'll be able to do. I mean, it's Scott Hedges Quinn, isn't it, who's done the sculpture, which he did the Alf and the Bobby ones outside Bournemouth Road, which are fantastic. So I've no doubt this is going to be really good. But yeah, just seemed like some of the artwork I saw of it, I was like, does that look like Kevin from that angle? But the family have seen it and are very pleased with it. So, you know, who cares what I think? As long as they're happy about it, happy days. You know?
I like the Beatty one because of the action, I suppose he's
You're
doing.
in a different style,
It
aren't
makes sense. I'm not.
Yeah.
I've never been 100% in love with the Sir Bob one because I'm not quite sure what the pointing's all about. Why couldn't we have him stood with his hand in his pockets or just stood? Like, what's...
Yeah, the point. I have. Do you know what? I'll have to go back and look that up. That is taken from a photo, I believe. I know Sawfor beats on the comments. He might be able to tell us, but I don't know if that was from some kind of iconic image or something. Nowadays, statue of Portugal Airport. Yeah.
Oh,
Is
yes.
That's in Madeira, I think. I think it's Ronaldo Airport in Madeira. Yeah. That was pretty awful.
That was almost the one with Beckham when he's doing the prank with James Corden, and James Corden's pranking Bex. That was almost that level of, huh? That's not good.
Yeah.
That's not good.
But it's like, go back to what we said earlier. It's great that we can actually recognise people think we're a small club, right? We think we're a sleeping giant. We'll go with that. Yeah. It's great we've got all these things outside the stadium.
You're not alone, Matt.
All right, so Beat's not too happy with it. Yeah, the shoot mag. Well, we saw that on WhatsApp, didn't we, Martin? Yesterday we were talking about it.
That makes sense, though, right? When you say, look, shoot mag. Now, maybe I've missed the memo about the whole Sir Bob one, but since the day it was unveiled, I've always wondered, when I've walked past it and touched his foot, I've gone, what are you pointing that way for, Bob?
Yeah, we'll need to have a look at this. I'm pretty certain I've seen some kind of image or something, although I might have just dreamt that. I don't know. I'll go back and have a look.
Right, another thing I've picked up, right? So these are the things that we picked up that we're sort of having an upbeat look at, right? It was this guy. It is in the whole Daily Mail. That's all I'm going to say. It's face mask row with whole security expert. Okay, so this whole security expert who says he could write a book on security claims he was sacked by employees for not wearing a mask. So the story goes that he was. He said he had a mask, carried a mask in his pocket. When he was asked to put the mask on, he put the masks on. So he claims he was wearing the mask. And this whole story is built around the fact that he was wearing it, but they'd say he wasn't. And then when they asked the security company for comment, they say, right, this is exactly what they've said. He wasn't sacked for not wearing a mask. He was sacked because we received a number of complaints stating he had been sticking his head in car windows and on another occasion had fallen asleep. So in that book of security that he's going to write, chapter 1 will be, don't fall asleep on the job.
Yeah.
The whole story, and then right at the end, he fell asleep.
How have you coped with wearing the mask when you've gone off and done your shopping? Do you just do it automatically now, or do you ever forget?
I hate them. I know. I carry a new one every time I go out. Actually, you know, I mean, it's difficult. So, I don't know if these are working, quite frankly, because like you carry one in your pocket, you get it out. How many times do you use the same one over and over again? I don't know. It's difficult. And then, of course, when you're shopping, you're looking down, you're looking up, you're looking left, you're looking right. It starts here. It's here. So you pull it down, right?
Yeah.
So your hands have been touching goods and trolleys and whatnot.
Yeah.
So you're then pulling it down. So your hands are basically here, right? Well, then what bloody good is it? You might as
We
well
have to
bother.
on our school when I go and pick my boy up from school. We have to wear them as soon as we enter the school, through the school gates and everything. It's just become a bit of a natural thing. I mean, it's always kind of been a culture that's been associated with the Far East, isn't it? You'd see a lot of Chinese or Japanese tourists come to London, they'd be wearing these kind of things. Whether or not we're going to be wearing them in the new normal of 2021, I guess so. But yeah, it's a funny old thing, isn't it? I don't know if it works or not. I don't know. You've got to keep them clean, haven't you? I've got 5 or 6.
I mean, yeah, I wish I bought some shares in a mask company, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
It was Blakey, school run gets me most days. Kathy
Yeah.
Williams, back to the statues, maybe John Walker or Terry Butcher. Yeah, good
So many options on the statues. Really is. That's what I'm
There
thinking.
is.
There's so many options. This is why they could maybe decorate Portman Road outside with all these.
Facebook user who hasn't given us their the option to use their name. Bobby always posed like that during games and poses spot on.
Yeah.
Okay, it's spot on, but is it necessary? Like, did we need? Why can't he just be stood there in his suit? Like,
I guess it'd be too similar to the Alf one, wasn't it? You want it to be a little bit different.
okay, I don't. I just like.
We did that. We did a with David
boring.
Shanks. We did a ceremony at that statue once. Because would you believe Alf Ramsey didn't actually get a World Cup winners medal for winning the World Cup in '66? So the FA lobbied for him to get a medal posthumously, and also the players that didn't even feature 1 to 11 in the game didn't get a medal either. So they all received those as well. So we did a thing on the front cover of the East Anglian Daily Times in Sheepshanks. Did like a little speech and a photo call at the Alf statue, and we met his widow, Lady Victoria. I don't know if she's still with us now. She must have been 90s then, I think. And she received it. But yeah, that was a bit of a mad one to have Alf Ramsey's World Cup winning medal in your pocket. It was a crazy one.
Cool.
Yeah.
Look at you. Look at you, Phillips, media mogul. Learning truly.
I've been lucky to work on some of these things. They used to give me these. Knowing I was an Ipswich fan, they used to give me these things to work on. It wasn't even light work. It was like things you'd have done as a hobby. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about masks. Callie says they'll be here for a while to come.
I
The
think
country
Callie's
just wears
right,
a
yeah.
snood. Do you ever see a situation where we revert away from masks, or do you feel they've infiltrated the culture so much that even when we're 100% out of this, people are still, like China, going to be wearing masks out and about? Or do you see it going back?
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, even like in the States, I've seen some media like on some of the news channels there where people have had vaccines and told they've still got to wear their masks. So I really don't know. I don't know if this was correct in the week, but there was some images of Wuhan, obviously where this all started in the week, of, it's gone back to normal there.
Yeah, but you can't compare the two.
But you can't. I mean, you don't even know with China, do you? With the regime they have there, whether or not these things are true. But a lot of people were partying and all that kind of thing, which I found unbelievable, really. But I don't know. Again, as you said at the top of the show, these are things that are out of our control. So we'll just have to
I just wondered about the masks, because obviously in China it's a respect thing, isn't it? Like, if I've got a cold, I wear a mask, I protect you. I just, and then it's one of those. It's interesting thing to think about, because if we do come away from the masks and some people stick with them, is there going to be laws brought in again where you can't, you couldn't wear things covering your face before? It's just one of those, isn't it? Like, I don't think I'd feel I think I'd feel unsafe personally, but I've got OCD, so that's me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think any of the guys in the chat there have been to Portman Road for the 2 games, but how did they find wearing the mask at the fort? The singing, the chanting, and everything. You might be there to keep wearing that once you go back to the full crowds, which hopefully will be at some point. So.
Absolutely. Callie said you do something enough becomes a habit. Before COVID, even in India, particularly Delhi, people were warned due to bad pollution. That's true. Right. You've got somebody else. You're just so famous, Matt, because somebody else that you've met has recently re-hit the headlines. I've got a lovely picture here, and you can talk about it.
We know the crunch had the ump about this, didn't we?
Well, credit of Crawley, obviously. This man here, Towie's Mark Wright, has signed for Crawley Town in League 2.
Yeah. Non-contract basis he signed on. Yeah.
And what does that mean for us simple folk?
Well, they're basically not paying him, I guess. They
don't need to pay him.
He's not tied to anything. I mean, he's a good footballer, Mark, right? I mean, he's featured quite prominently in those UNICEF games, isn't he? The Robbie Williams, the soccer aid matches. And I think even when Sam Allardyce was one of the managers of the England, the British team, whatever it was called, UK team, he said it's a shame he didn't focus more on football. But he has played for a lot of clubs, Mark, right? I mean, before his pre-fame years here, he started his career at Southend. He's been at Grays, Crawley, where he spent 9 appearances. Rushton, Bishop Stortford, Fisher, Thurrock, Bishop Stortford again, Heybridge Swifts. So he's been around that kind of conference, north-south kind of level.
He's a right back, right?
Yeah, he plays as a full back. Of course, his brother has had a good career, hasn't he? Orient, Josh Wright, Scunthorpe, Orient, played at Portman Road a few times.
If we're going to be scouting these charity games, what's old Robbie Williams' mate up to these days?
Jonathan Wilkes. Yeah.
Get him in.
They just used to dish him out for that game, didn't they? Gave people the right ump. But yeah,
he was there because he was Williams' mate. Like, he hadn't done anything.
Person to be afraid of. But yeah, I think old John Yems, friend of the show, he's featured on here before, hasn't he? Trying to get Dobber on
He
line.
certainly has.
I think he said in that EFL trophy game that Mark Wright had been training with him for quite some time. I think it's like just a little tick over thing. They were impressed with him. But he's 33, so he might feature in. I don't know if they're still in the EFL trophy. He might feature in that, and that might prompt people, casual fans, to pay a tenner and watch him. So from that point of view, it's a good business move. But yeah, you were talking about Mark Wright. When I was working Froch Groves 2 at Wembley, I went out to it was a really hot, steamy time in the stadium. I went out to get a breath of fresh air. And this people carrier suddenly turned up outside Wembley. The window came down, darkened window, and I'm just minding my own business, having a drink. And it was him. He said, "Oi, mate, can you get us in the stadium quickly?" I thought, "Well, yeah, I guess so." He goes, "You're going to have to be quick. We're going to get mobbed." I thought, "Oh, yeah, all right, whatever." So he got out with his wife, Michelle Keegan off Corrie.
Yep.
Literally, they were mobbed. Literally, I would say about 200 people were chasing after them. And we got them into the stadium ASAP and into the lift. And then lo and behold, you believe the lift broke down. So I'm now stuck in the lift with them and like world boxing journalists. And we was in there for about 5 minutes. Everybody's sweating and dripping. It wasn't a good look for anyone. And then eventually we managed to get them up to their seats. But yeah, that night was very much the who's who of like ITV, ITV2, ITV BE, wherever it's called. Yeah. But yeah, he seemed a nice enough lad. He was a bit pissed off he was stuck in the lift with me, I think, and about 20 other people. But there you go.
I can't blame him. I can't blame him. I'm just reading it. He's obviously turned down Billericay, it says.
The Glen Tamp thing is.
Here we go. He wants to document his journey on a TV show towards the top end of the football spectrum. So
he's a very good presenter, I think. I don't think a lot of people make the transition. They try and be everything and then jack of all trades and master of none. But I actually think he's very good. And I think Ryland's very good as well. He's gone from a laughing stock on X Factor to being one of the BBC's best presenters, I think.
I'm not
He's
a big
good.
fan of Ryland.
And both festive fans. So shout out both.
I watched Supermarket Sweep last night and I'm just thinking...
Oh, you're thinking Dale, aren't you? They're big shoes to fill.
No, I'm just thinking, there's so many other presenters.
Well, who would you have?
What, for Supermarket Sweep?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd stick Bradley Walsh in anything, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah. Again,
I'd stick him in anything. I'd just stick him in anything. I think he's brilliant. The thing is, though, the thing with BBC, this wasn't BBC, but BBC get high on people, and then they never let them go. So they were really high on Graham Norton for one point, so he was shoehorned into every TV show. Now it's Jason Manford, isn't it? That's their one they really like at the moment. Or what's the other guy? Yeah, McIntyre. I can't stand him. Sorry, not my cup of tea.
I like him. I like his new show, The Wheel.
Yes. Hey, I was watching that the other week. Do you think old Jason Donovan sat in that wheel and it spin round about 800 times? Or do you think he said, "Look, I'm going to jump out of this one. You can get some showrunner to sit in my seat for a spin."
We said last week, didn't we, about quizzes, University Challenge. I like that. And The Wall with Danny Dyer. That's a good.
Yes.
Enjoying those.
I'm more of a Frankie Boyle type comedian. Which might
surprise I've seen Frankie Boyle live. Yeah. My missus doesn't find him funny. I think he's very funny. But I mean,
he can cross over, but that's comedy, right? It's on the line. Comedy is supposed to be on the line. And if you're offended, just walk away. And if you're not, enjoy it.
People did walk away in the theatre when we saw Frankie Boyle. He started and people did walk out.
Yeah, he got kicked off BBC, didn't he? He got absolutely kicked off.
What's Blakey saying here? Being in a lift with Keegan lucky man. Let me tell you, she didn't want to be stuck in that lift. She was giving everyone the evil eye.
I can imagine she probably did.
When you dress to the nines and you're stuck in a lift with a load of blokes, it's not a place you want to be.
It's not. No,
boxing journalists mostly.
Right. I've got a couple of ITFC related sort of quiz questions. I've got somebody coming on very shortly who can provide some competition to you. But first of all, I want to go to an account I've mentioned before. Which is the Didn't Happen of the Year Awards
you like this,
on Twitter. Oh, it's fantastic. I just want to read off a few things they've posted over the last sort of month that I found funny. So we had this one post, okay? This is the sort of flavour you get from this show, right, Matt? So here we go. So I asked my husband why people have stopped caring about Brexit. Our son walked in and said, "It's not so much that people have stopped caring about Brexit. I fear that Brexit has stopped caring about people." We looked at the floor and wept. He's right, you know. He's only 8. 8 years old.
8 years old? Really?
Those are the sort of things he's coming out with, you know. I mean, it's just it's brilliant, right? My 11-year-old just saw me reading your book, and I tried to explain the concept of the sun to him by way of a few headlines. His response, and I do read the Sun, by the way, before I go any further. Ah, yes. Why wouldn't I want a side of boobs with my racism in the morning? That's how to start a day. Pretty spot on summary from my 11-year-old.
They don't have to page 3 anymore, do they? You got banned or
Do they
something?
not?
No, got taken away. Back in the day, it used to be page 3 for girls, and then page 7 was a guy in his swimming shorts or something.
And then we've got one guy
In the 80s heyday.
who's obviously being had on by his neighbours, because he says the rich are faking the pandemic. They are paying actors to pretend to be ill. My neighbour across the road was paid £34 to pretend to have a cough.
Really?
No, Matt. No, he's not.
I'm just playing along.
His neighbours are quite clearly sort of, giving him a hook line, and he's taking it, and just that account, it gets work. And every year they have, like I said, they have a Champions League style format where they have groups and they get all the best posts from the year. And I just would recommend, they don't sponsor us, but just check them out because it's so funny. Last year a 3-year-old won it. And it's just one of those things you think, some of the stuff these people write. Last year's winner was this one, right? So it's a picture of a boy in a uniform crying. And he said, and the post was, "Yo, my son woke me up out of my sleep crying and said, 'Mummy, like you tired of working, trying to make it better for me and my sister. I'll go to work for you today. This made me cry. He's only 1. Oh, yeah, of course he did. Of course he did. Of course he did. Yeah, he comprehends that. We're talking of hook, line and sinker. We have got Chief Fisherman of the Ipswich Town FC Forum joining us now. He's not grumpy Mike. He's not, why did we lose? Why have we won? Where is Paul Lambert? He is, of course, Festive Mike. Festive Mike. Look at that.
Look at this.
I'm always getting told I'm too negative, yeah? There's positivity here. Positivity, full of it as well.
Is that your
Blue
hair?
and white tinsel as well.
That part's my hair, yeah. Might as well be. I'm as grey as that. How is everyone this week? All good?
Yeah, we're not too bad. Well, I'm getting over this cold I've had, Mike. I'm getting over it, but I'm not too bad. Have you been fishing this week?
No, I've been down my lake to have a look round and sort of do some work down.
Have you watched the Paul Whitehouse, Bob Mortimer fishing Christmas special on iPlayer?
Yeah, probably have. I haven't watched a lot of stuff recently.
Are they still going?
It's a very good show. They've done 2-3 series, and they've got a Christmas special out. Yeah, I like that show. It's chill. I don't do fishing. I just like watching other people do it. It's chilled out.
Mike could definitely be great.
Trust me, I've got some pretty dodgy photographs of me in wigs. I ain't gonna go down that road again. I remember when I was about 15. My mum wanted to wind her neighbour up, and she dressed me up in this black wig and makeup and stuff. And I'm walking down the street, and these 2 builders that are building and doing some work on the roof started walk whistling. And I was like, "Oh my Lord, what have I done?" And when you're a kid, you do anything to get a bit of attention.
They definitely should have gone to Specsavers.
There's a career in pantsay waiting for you, Mike.
Do you know what? I had a chance to go on the stage years ago, but unfortunately, due to the 2 people that were running the drama club having an affair with each other, it all got cancelled. So I was a bit disappointed, but never mind. I've got this show if I want pantomime, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely, Mike. Yeah, absolutely. Results went our way yesterday. We will cover Ipswich Town very quickly ahead of Northampton. We're on the basis it's still going ahead. Results went our way a little bit yesterday. We're still inside the top 6. Are we confident ahead of Boxing Day, guys?
Well, I mean, did we get a let off yesterday? Not playing Peterborough.
Well, there's 2 trains of thought, right? There's a train of thought that says we're top 6, but only because we've played more games than the teams below us.
True.
And I subscribe. And okay, I'll get on that. But hang on, if you're going to say that, you could also say we're only 6th and behind Portsmouth because we played a game less than Portsmouth. Like, you can't have this reverse thinking of, well, we're only 6th because the teams below us have not played 18 games, but the team above us who's got 19 we couldn't be above. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's that glass half full sort of mentality, isn't it?
So Pompey have gone top now, haven't they?
They have, they sit top, played 19, won 10, 35 points, goal difference of 17. Now, granted, to go above Pompey, we have to win by about 14-0. Not going to happen with Aaron Drennan up front, or Ollie Hawkins, or Alan Judge, or who's, by the way, been on Twitter again, liking and whatnot. I think it was ITFC Analytics tweet that they'd liked a post from a while back. So he's out on the old Twitter.
It was that account, wasn't there? There was an account, Lambert Out, that had to go at Norwood or something, and then Judge came in, didn't they, or something?
Yeah, I missed that. I missed all that.
I think Norwood had said, if you want to come up to the training ground and discuss it with me, you're more than welcome. And then suddenly that account got deleted, pretty sharpish. And then Judge came in and supporting Norwood. I don't really like seeing players interacting like that on the social media, particularly.
No,
they don't want me going down there. They wouldn't want me going down there. I'd tell them a few things.
Leighton Durrant, we're in a constant pantomime. We support Ipswich. That's a fair point. But Northampton currently sit 20th. They've only won 5 games all year. They've lost 4 of the last 5. If it goes ahead, do you think we're going to be all right with Boxing Day 3-pointer?
I don't know. I think this game's looking very unlikely, isn't it? What's the game after? Is it
AFC Wimbledon on the 29th.
On the 29th. So that might be more in play. That would be the next game, maybe.
Let's give it the world that it's on.
Yeah.
The world that it's on.
Yeah. I don't know, really. Did you think we looked particularly convincing against Burton in the week? Not really. Gave away another usual goal, didn't we? That sort of break down the left, cross comes in, Geezer taps it in.
But we beat them. So
we did beat them. We did beat them.
Do you think we'll be celebrating Christmas 3 points, Mike?
What do you think, Mike?
I think we'll beat Northampton. There's no other reason for. I can't see how, even with our reserve squad, I think we'd beat Northampton. I'm just shocked how absolute woeful this league is. I mean, it's always League One and League Two have always been sort of, we know they're not particularly great leagues, but this particular season. And even last season, I didn't see anything that sort of said to me, wow, they are potentially championship teams. I mean, Wickham did, but even then, I mean, look how they're struggling in the championship. I thought Wickham were a good side. They were
supposed to get relegated last season, Mike. Favourites, one of the favourites to go down, end up going up. So they just happened to be quite consistent, didn't they? Which is what none of the top teams really are doing. Actually borne out yesterday by Lincoln, who got drilled 4-0 by Sunderland, and then went and beat Rochdale 4-0 themselves, who had beaten someone else 4-0 in the week. It's like
absolute crazy league. I think we'll look if the game. I don't think the game will go ahead against Northampton. I think our next game will probably be AFC Wimbledon. That I'm worried about that game because Wimbledon are either really good or really bad. And I went to the game last year with AFC Wimbledon at home, and I actually thought they played really good football. Whether they're, depending on what players we get back, if we get Kane Vincent Young on the right, replace the Chambers, then maybe we'll get 3 points. I'm not. It's tough. It's tough to look at games and think, But I think realistically, we're looking at the most a draw against AFC Wimbledon. But Northampton, we should beat. There's no reason why we can't beat them.
Yeah. Yep. They're not going to be head and shoulders above Burton or anything. Everyone's corrected me on the comments. I had it round the wrong way. So Norwood for sticking up for Judge.
Yes, apparently so. Lambert out account called out Judge for screaming at a ball boy, but it was Chambers who screamed at ref. North quote. Yeah, I saw the Norwood retweet. I just didn't see what kicked it all off in the first place. But regardless of what happens on the football field, we'll be here over Christmas, guys. Do not worry. I plan to be here as often and as I can with the shows. Just for anyone who's isolated or if you're stuck somewhere and you just want some light relief, hopefully we'll help you out. And Talking Town's got your back.
Talking about the injuries there, Mike. I mean, this is the little asterisk. We've been very kind of pro getting rid of Lambert, right? Yeah. But this is the asterisk next to his name, isn't it? The 12, the 13 injuries, whatever, and players to come back. You can only assume, because we would assume that with the run of form we've been in, starting last season into this season, so almost a year where we've not been in great form. We've not been in very good form at all, have we? Relegation form on 2-3 occasions.
Oh God, yeah.
That's not going to bypass Evans, right? Even if you don't know much about football, that ain't going to bypass him. I can only assume the asterisk next to Lambert's name is let's wait and see until we've got the full strength of the squad back, I think, is what's going to happen. But as Norwich are proving, won again yesterday, didn't they? Beat Cardiff 2-0
Yeah,
with their second.
we keep going back to
can't
Norwich, but
compare.
Liverpool the same, haven't they? They've got some massive players. They've had some massive players out.
You
and
can't compare the two.
No, I'm not
Strength in
comparing. See,
Strength in depth,
it's
isn't it?
so
It's the
defensive.
strength in
Isn't
depth
it?
of the division.
Well, no,
Yeah,
because I get the Norwich argument all of the time, but they've still got their strikers, Matt. They've still got their goal
Still
scorers.
Hugo, still got Pukey.
You know,
Yeah.
if we had Norwood and Jackson both fit, 100%, you could have anybody out of this team injured because you've still got your two goal scorers. And in this league, that's what's going to get you promoted. You know, Portsmouth have had their strikers fit all year. Pompey's had Clark Harris fit for most of the year. You know, if you've got Pukey and Hugill coming off the bench in the last 10, you're going to score goals because you've
And they
paid
kept
over
hold
10
of
million
that
quid.
Bundia.
Very good player, very good.
Too good for the championship.
We go back to the same old thing, don't we? Go back to the supply line to the strikers. I mean, when our midfield's been overrun, which is pretty much every game, because we've got that three in the midfield, it ends up we have nothing up front to supply to because the two that should be playing further forward end up dropping back to make a five. It's a difficult one. I get the Lambert. I get the Lambert's got injuries thing, and if we're going to use Norwich as an excuse, as a reason for us not doing bad, then surely we can use Liverpool the same because they've all had massive injuries. Yeah. Man City last year, they lost Laporte, who was having a blinding start to the season, and then they lost the league to Liverpool. So I just feel there's there's far too many excuses. I think Lambert's lost the fans. That's the problem, isn't it? I don't think he'll ever recover. He won't recover with me. He could win unless he got us to the Premier League. He'd never recover with me. Personally.
But fans have lost their own heads, quite frankly. Fans have lost it up here because you're saying it's so important we get promoted. It's so important, but I want Kieran Dyer. That's like saying it's so important I get a drink of water, but I'll have lemonade instead. Like if it's so important, go and get it. Don't go in and say, well, I want a young manager involved because he beat Swansea kids. Like. I'm seeing so many different contradictory arguments here, Matt,
and it doesn't. And I think as a fan base, I think everyone, like Mike's saying there, to win back the fans is almost an impossible job. So it seems it's not going to happen. But we don't want to miss out on the candidates that can really take this club forward, like a Cowley, like a Paul Cook.
Let's bring Stuart in.
Love
the hat, Stuart.
Well,
love the hat. We're getting too negative there. It's not a negative show. We're getting too negative. Getting too caught up in the
someone else has made an effort. Come on, guys. Where's your Christmas spirit? There, eh? Matt the Gov. God.
Talking about making an effort, right? We've got 4 blokes on the show, right? That might upset a few people. We've got 4 blokes on the show. I saw this on Twitter. I'm going to bring it, right? It's from the High Sheriff of Greater Manchester's Twitter account. Credit to him. Big up. He wanted an iPad for Christmas. Do you think he's got it?
That's a funny looking iPad.
Yeah.
It might be a stretched out version. I mean, has anyone wrapped up anything like that just as bad? That's quality.
My Christmas present. I don't know what you're moaning about.
Mike.
She's gone shopping today. I'll get out of that.
It was just the caption of I want an iPad. Do you think I've got it? And I was like, I don't know.
Don't hold your breath.
Has anyone ever done that? Has anyone ever bought something for their other half or just for themselves for Christmas and then wrapped it? Like, that's quite clearly, I need a new ironing board, so I'm going to wrap my ironing board.
Yeah, no, nothing like that. Nothing. I even like, if I bought a bottle of something for someone, I'll try and wrap it in the box rather than have the shape of the bottle there.
Mike strikes me, Matt, as a sort of bag guy, right? He'll buy presents and then he'll buy bags so he can avoid the wrapping.
Yeah. I'm not a very good rapper, but
I actually wrap.
I'm sort of on the line of that.
Yeah.
So say again, Mike.
I wrap all my presents. I'll have you know, Mister.
Very good.
Stuart, do you wrap yours or do you bag them?
Bag them.
Good man. Yes, another bagger.
I'm old school. I was taught by me mum how to wrap.
Yeah, I was taught by my dad. Just buy presents, buy a bag, and shove it in instead of take the top of it. Job done.
Was it in Gavin Stacey where he used his kitchen foil?
My brother's done that when he was at university. He wrapped all his gifts in tin foil, and he brought them home, opened the bag, and said, You've all got a present. I don't know which one's which though. It's just no. I think that's mine. That's yours, Mum. And yeah, my wife's trying to teach me about wrapping the presents, and she's big on wrapping. I just like to put bags, and like my dad, they're sealed, but you can still see right in them. So they're basically pointless because you go to the bag, you look at it, and
it's the thought that counts.
Talk about thoughts. Big up Matthew, as Crunchers just said. Thank you for the Harrods tea that you gave to the Talking Town lads. Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Use it sparingly.
Ippy Blake says, try wrapping a bike. Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, a bike's one of those things. I think you just put a bow on or something. That's probably what I'd do, and you wheel out the bike. That's probably what.
Big old blanket. That's what I did.
yeah.
What I did, we just put up against the radiator, and we just got this massive blanket and just covered it over, and we put some stuff in front of it. We put a clothes horse in front of it with clothes on it, so they didn't really take much notice. They were looking more interested in the tree presents than they were this. My daughter got it in the end. She was like, "Oh, I didn't see that there." So there is ways of hiding stuff, but
nice little comment from Sawford there, Martin, in the comments.
Yeah, anyone need call chat next Wednesday, get in touch with KBF on Sore Feet. As happy to help. I'll put the link for that account in the description. So if you're watching on YouTube, in the description. If you're watching on Facebook, it's in the post. If you're watching on Twitter, well, you'll know what Sore Feet is on Twitter, so I won't need to do that. But if you're watching this back, you can do that.
Who's the comedian who does that every Christmas Day? Sarah Millican?
Sarah Milligan.
Yeah. She, her and her husband. He's a comedian as well. They reach out to people on Twitter all day. Yeah, they spend all day on Twitter talking to people who might be feeling lonely or isolated or whatever. Fantastic. Yeah.
She's the comedian that came to Ipswich, didn't she? And I think her first joke was, "I love you one-way system. I can spend all day going round and round and round and round."
She's from Newcastle, North East area, I think she's from.
Yeah. She's quite good. Leighton Durran, I bought my other half of Hoover once. Looks like a dead body after being wrapped. Oh dear. Yes.
Well, that's not going to probably sit well then.
No. Have you done all your shopping, Stuart?
No, I haven't done it yet because
oh dear.
I had to buy myself a new phone because my old one sort of like gave up the ghost. So
Well,
I'm doing it at the last minute.
yeah.
Yes, so was mine. I dropped my phone down the loo, and don't ask. Long story. And half of it now is in complete darkness because it got wet. So I'm only able to see half the screen. So when the WhatsApp group goes off, I can only see half the messages.
You get a bowl of rice for 24 hours. That'll sort that out.
I tried that. It did not work.
No.
To absorb the water.
It didn't work. Well, if I don't know. Only half of it got stuck down the loo, though. So the half that got stuck down the loo is the half that's got the dark screen. We've all been there. Anyway.
Callie's not starting Christmas shopping till Christmas Eve. Look at that.
But Callie lives in Birmingham. Callie, you're going to be... I don't know. How's that going to work?
He's tier 3 still, I think.
Yeah.
Still tier 3.
Until Borris decides to put him in tier 4.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be stuck with Amazon that can't deliver. Callie, sister wanted a car for her birthday, so we got her a Mercedes key fob, which is actually a USB. Prank gives her the best. Apparently the bag of rice needs to be airtight. Okay, I'm going to try that this afternoon.
Oh, okay,
I'm going to try that. Now, I've got this book, right? It's called Ipswich Town by Dan Botton. Don't know if anyone's ever got it, ever read it. Somebody gave it to me once.
I've got that.
Big up Dan Botton. These people that write their books, like you think they're like town fans, right? But you never see them in the community, so you can only imagine that. I'm still waiting for the Renegade Statman book.
Surprised we haven't had one. Yeah.
But we talk about Ipswich Town needing to make more money or find new ways of income. In the 1921-22 season, okay, when they were in need of a way to generate extra income, can you have a guess at what they did at Portman Road? What sport they did? If you can call it a sport even. I'm not even sure you can. I'll give you 4 options, all right? You've got greyhound racing, running, whippet. I'll give you 3 options. That'll be it.
So greyhound racing, whippet racing,
and whippet racing.
I think they did greyhound racing.
Yeah.
Mike?
Something says in my head of greyhound racing. Yeah.
Stuart?
Greyhound racing.
Greyhound. No, it was whippet. Whippet racing.
That's something you see every day.
I used to do greyhound racing at Wembley back in the day, the old Wembley.
And groundsman Walter Woolard kept chickens, goats, and sheep under the Portman Road stand.
Wow.
I mean, you know,
They're called players today.
they're called players. That's shocking. I just read it. I was like, wow. Can you imagine it? You know, so where you get your beer, you got your chicken, you got your goats, you got your sheep. Proper tractor boys, you know.
Proper. Yeah. Well,
Proper tractor
it's a rural club. People keep saying it.
But
Certainly
we need to
was
make
back
money
then.
these days. Get the whippets back out, boys.
Yeah.
You know. 4 days after finishing 17th in Division 1, Town went down 2-1 to East Berlin 11 in an end-of-season friendly.
Wow.
Watched by how many fans? 50,000, 60,000, 70,000 or 80,000?
When was this?
1963.
Oh, that's well before my time, so I'm out of this one.
No, it's all
I'm
right.
going to
You've
go
got
as
4
high as
options.
80,000. It's not an official record or something.
This is not a Portman Road, presumably.
No.
No, this is over
it
in
was-
Germany, right?
It certainly was,
I'm
yes.
going to go with 80,000 there.
Stuart, 40, 50, 60, 70 or 80?
80.
You're all close. It's 70,000 fans in May 90. I know.
Wow.
The Blues scored early through a Ted Phillips header, but the host fought back to win with 2 late goals. The game finished 5 minutes early, as not to clash with the end of the Prague-Warsaw-Berlin cycle race, which was known as the Tour de France of the East.
Oh, wow.
I know.
I think
There
it's
you
book
go.
out. There's some great stats going on here.
Let's bring Luke in. Welcome in, Luke. All are welcome on this show as we close up. But however, we've got 2 more for you. So Monday, May 30th, 1938, all before our time, but we can all have a good guess, was another momentous day in Ipswich Town history. Oh no, don't worry, that's not that one. Don't want to read that one. That's when we were formed. That's when it became all dark and dreary in Suffolk.
Yeah, we've become
That's
a
when
club.
life became a lot worse.
Professional football club. It's not been down here ever since.
Can you imagine that meeting? But it's a good book, honestly. You've got loads of different things in this. I got it a couple of years ago. And on Sunday, 20th of July, 1969, Town crushed Vancouver Spartans 5-1 with goals from Ron Wigg, Peter Morris, Charlie Woods and Frank Bogan. The crowd of 3,000 was considered locally to be disappointing. But however, it went up against one other momentous thing in history. Can you tell me what it went up against?
What was the year?
1969, 20th of July.
This has got to be the moon landing, surely.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the counter attraction of the first ever moon landing. Ipswich Town was the counter attraction to the bloody moon landing.
The Vancouver Spartans.
And some people reckon the moon landing never happened.
Yeah, some people do think that, yeah.
But we did
Yeah.
crush Vancouver Spartans. Luke, how you doing, buddy?
All right, been better. Tier 4 now.
You in tier 4,
Sorry.
are you?
Yeah, same
I'm
as me,
tier
are you, Luke?
4.
Yeah, same
I'm
as
tier
me.
I'm lucky. I'm in tier 2.
I'm kind of middle. I'm in Heightsted, so Braintree. I come in the Braintrees. I'm tier 4, but I'm 15 minutes away from Sudbury, which is in tier 2.
Oh,
15
right,
minutes away from Colchester, which is in tier 2 also.
North Essex,
So
yeah.
it's
Well,
Yeah.
this will cheer you up, Luke. Mike Davey, if Town did whippet racing now, half of the team would pull up with a groin injury.
true.
So that's certainly something we've got to sort out for the new year, isn't it? They've got to get some kind of fitness coaching or something.
For
It is.
club,
I just want to bring something up quickly.
Go for it.
So,
I was on YouTube the other a few days ago, and I saw this video of Tom Lawrence when he
Dangerous.
used to play for Ipswich. And I was watching it, and I was thinking, what have we come to these days? Because since then, then I posted it on the group, and then
Well,
everyone was remembering how good he was, and
this is when we went through that little phase of getting these kind of flair players and on loan. McCarthy,
Yeah.
it's Selena,
it's called
Right,
money pinching,
Fraser.
Matt.
Yeah.
To be honest.
and I was thinking to myself, we could do with a player like him now.
We could, yeah. And Luke is a big football manager enthusiast, and he works for the company that makes Football Manager, right? Now, that's the
right,
most
cool.
realistic football simulator out there. Now, they've got a thing in their game called loan fees.
Yeah.
Very realistic, very real in real life. Luke, Ryan Fraser, Tom Lawrence, I know Fraser was part of the Pittman deal, part of the
Yeah.
Mings deal, but there still would have been something involved with that.
Yeah.
Selena,
Leave us
how
certainly.
much really do you think average, pulling some money out this out of the year, how much do you think that really would have cost the club? 3 loan fees like that, like the revolving
cost-
door of left wing.
Mascot's quite a bit. Do you think he got to pay the wages, got to pay a loan fee? Presumably, I don't know, but presumably the club would put him up for an apartment, I presume, as it's a loan. So I reckon you're talking a decent amount of money, I think. I will be honest though, this might be a bit controversial, but I do actually think Tom Lawrence is very, very overrated at Ipswich. A bit controversial, but I did not think he was a good. I thought he was good, but I thought people made him out to be more than he actually was.
He probably just stood out a bit more because he would shoot.
But
from
you
range.
were playing
Whatever
against shite.
that
You were playing those shite, so like, you're not doing that well at Derby. I don't think I'd say.
If that team was playing shite, then what is this team playing like? Jesus.
Well,
Jesus.
That was the great
That'll
thing
be an
about-
understatement. That will be.
The great thing about Selena and Lawrence was they would shoot from distance and they invariably would score, wouldn't they, from 25, 30
Yeah,
yards,
that's true.
which we don't have. Who shoots from outside the box now? Hardly anybody.
Cole Skuse.
We haven't seen him all season. Luke Garbutt with his free kicks last season.
Because those players are flair and they've got ability and they've got confidence. You know, you're not really asking someone like I don't know, Brett McGavin, who's a defensive midfielder, who's got a defensive mindset. He's not got the mentality to get a ball 18-yard box and probably look up and think, yeah, I'll have that.
Yeah.
Whereas Lawrence and Selena and co. But I'm just thinking how much money that would have cost the club. And
I think
just buying
Selena was only $1 million, wasn't he? Selena was $1 million, I believe.
Yeah, I think
Someone
so.
told me. Yeah, I mean, what Luke just said, all the add-ons on top of that, you would have thought Man City probably just paid his wages. But in terms of the part, they've got that apartment block, haven't they, down by the waterfront?
yeah.
that is a lovely place
I
there.
always joke. So I'm not from Ipswich. I always joke like people go to Suffolk University, might see the seafront, and it really paints a picture Ipswich cannot live up to. It paints a lovely picture of Ipswich.
Right, yeah.
The high street cannot live up to it.
It's a lovely place, Ipswich. Behave yourself. I love my hometown. Absolutely love my hometown.
I live a mile. I live about an hour away from it. Just on the record.
Mike's got a funny look on his face. He's got something on his mind. Come on, Mike, say it. I can see that. I can see your eyes working, Mike. Something's going on behind them.
He's got something. He's hiding something.
I don't know. So I don't want to be negative. I really don't. I just think, look.
He's thinking back
We're
to
all
when
in this.
we had
Yeah, I know. Look, Ipswich are where they are. We've got it. We're probably going to miss the next 2 games. So I think the most important thing that we've got to do as human beings right now is whether you on the fence with this COVID or you're not, and this tier system or whatever. Right now we have this. Look what we're doing now. We're on a live stream. We're all having a bit of banter, having a bit of laugh, and anybody want to call me over Christmas, do so. I got no
Oh
problem.
God, don't call Mike over Christmas.
Oh, thanks. Oh, that's nice, isn't it? Oh, come on, your show more often.
I can just paint the scene now. Hello, in a Scottish accent. Hello, is that Mike? Yeah, it's Paul Lambert. I just want to be a fly on the wall for that conversation. I've been watching
I
Talking
said
Town.
friends. I said friends and family. Let's get that straight. Yeah.
All right, let's close up the show.
Mike,
Let's
really great gesture.
Mike, honestly, yeah, as Matt
Yeah.
says, really good gesture of you.
I think everybody should
yeah,
do it.
absolutely, yeah. I'm always available with me.
tough
DMs, Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm always
And the
available.
Cruncher's always got his DMs open.
He has.
Play some Foot Manager, he'll be alright.
There you go. That's what
Yeah.
Luke's going to be doing.
Play
Shout out,
some.
shout out to the Cruncher who should be in New York or in America. I think
He
he
was
Oh.
supposed to fly today, wasn't
Oh.
Yeah, so thoughts with
That's
you,
a tough
Crunch.
one,
But
isn't
he has got some lovely, and I know they're lovely because I've edited them. But he's got some lovely advent calendars coming up the next few days. So keep your
Yeah.
eyes peeled for the Cruncher's Twitter account and on Facebook and whatnot. But let's close up the show with our favourite Christmas films, right? I won't open the can of worms that it is Die Hard a Christmas film or not.
Oh,
I'll leave that up to you, each to their own. But what is your favourite go-to Christmas film as we count down towards Jesus' birthday?
I've got a couple I like.
Go on then.
Christmas Carol Muppets with Michael Caine.
Oh yes.
And I love Nativity.
What, with Martin Freeman?
Martin Freeman. Yeah, I love that film. That's so
The first one is great. The rest are just
Yeah. The first one, though.
OTT.
Mr.
But yeah.
Poppy. Fantastic. It's on Amazon Prime, I
Sparkle
think.
and shine. There's no need to be afraid. Mike?
Alan Carr is the film critic.
Yeah. Can't beat it.
Joe, I've got a few great sort of Christmas films. I love Home Alone 1 and 2. I think they're fantastic. You know, when I've got, like I said, I've got 7 children with my kids, with my wife, and
Wow.
my granddaughter's just walked in the kitchen. Hello, my darling. But Home Alone 1 and 2, I'll tell you what, it's a great watch. It's a bit of a chick flick, but it's a great watch. Last Christmas, recent one with Emily
Don't
Clark.
spoil it. Don't spoil it for people.
No,
'cause that is a film.
don't worry. That is a film, isn't it? It is an absolute brilliantly written, brilliantly directed, and well acted film. I thought it was very good. So that's now
Netflix,
one of my.
right?
Sorry,
Is that
Sky.
Netflix? It's on Sky film.
Sky, yeah,
yes.
Sky, yeah. Last Christmas, a lot of George Michael songs in it. Great, lovely.
I
Oh,
don't
I
know
know what you mean.
I don't know about you, Mike, but I started that film watching it, thinking she's the nearest Targaryen, and I can't get past that.
Yeah.
Then as it went on,
Yeah,
I
I know
slowly
one, yeah.
I slowly got away from that mindset.
Yeah.
Found myself watching a film I claimed to my wife I wouldn't be watching, and then at the end, won't spoil it. FML.
Yeah. I ain't gonna lie. I
I felt
yeah,
robbed.
I loved it.
felt robbed. I felt robbed. I've got to be honest. I felt
I'm going
robbed.
to watch this now. I'm going to
Go and
watch this.
watch
with
it.
you.
I felt
honestly,
robbed.
anybody out there, watch it. It's a great. You got a great soundtrack, great direction, great acting, really good twist, some really good fun, amusing bits. It's a
Gets you right
fantastic.
there.
Yeah, it does. It's an emotional movie, but yeah, no. But so Home Alone 1 and 2, Bill Murray, Scrooge, just another favourite of mine.
Yeah.
Anything that makes you feel good at Christmas.
Bit of lampoons. Bit of lampoon.
No, I'm not a great lover of. I'm not. Nah, Cherry Chase was never really not somebody I really enjoyed. But no, they're the sort of kind of films I think you know.
Chilled out, Stuart. What are you saying?
Sort of like The Snowman,
Ooh.
Channel 4.
Yeah.
80s.
and there's another
Yeah.
one as well, The Snowman and the Snow Dog.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that one. Yeah.
Nice.
Classics.
Nice. All right.
Nice.
Got some.
They're my
got Leighton-
go-to.
Got Leighton Done with Escape to Victory.
Escape to Victory. Most 80s theme in it.
Miracle
love that film.
34th Street. The Grinch.
Oh, seen
Stuart,
that as well, yeah.
Luke, sorry. What about you, Luke?
We've actually been to it was the SI Christmas party the other week
Okay.
online, obviously. We were actually debating it. So we had a Christmas quiz, and I actually think this is very controversial. But Elf is one of the most overrated Christmas films ever. I cannot stand
He
it.
thinks Tom Lawrence is overrated. He thinks Elf is overrated.
I can't stand it. The best Christmas film is Polar Express. I will not take any.
I've
love
never seen
it.
it.
Oh.
I've
I
never
go-
seen
I know what
it.
you mean. It's
either,
funny,
so-
yeah, but maybe you're right there, Luke.
But
If-
no, I did like Miracle on 34th Street as well, and It's One for Life's a good one.
Yes.
Okay.
Guess you.
Glad my
I'll
kids
go
are
in.
in here hearing you say that about Elf. Like, I have to sit
I
and
don't
I have
like
to sit
it.
and watch that at least once a day. I've got
I
a
don't get
4-year-old
it.
that runs around here. It is what it is, isn't it? But oh my lord,
But Mike, are you like me, right? Are you like me? So I've got a 9-month, and I wouldn't say he really likes the show, but he watches Mr. Tumble, right? And we put Mr. Tumble on
Right.
for him, and then he stops watching Mr. Tumble, and I'm watching Mr. Tumble,
It's a tumble, God, yeah.
and I'm
Bloody
signing
hell.
with him, and I'm watching him, and and I'm like,
I've
this
got-
is crazy.
I
I'm a
remember that when I
Paw
was a
Patrol.
child.
Paw Patrol, Fireman Sam,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Night Garden. Oh my god, the list goes on.
Paka Paka, what a character.
Yeah.
I'll give
Lala.
you 2 films. Right? I've
Go on,
not
Ed.
seen the ones Luke's mentioned. But first of all, if you want a real good sing song and sort of belt the lyrics out, The Greatest Showman. I watched that last year.
Is it really a
watched-
Christmas movie though?
It came out at Christmas time, so it's down like Die Hard
Right,
on
though.
that Christmas thing. I watched it last year. I didn't want to watch it, but like the one this year, the film that Mike mentioned, and I was like, and I watched it and I loved it, and I still love the music. I've got the CD in the car, and I know the lyrics word for word, and I'm going to watch it at some point, and I absolutely love the show.
I
Zac
agree.
Efron in it is just brilliant.
I
Yeah,
agree
it
it's a good film, but it does the typical Hollywood of making P.C. Bartram to a good guy when he was really not a good guy.
I don't care for
That's what I'm
accuracy.
saying.
But Jesus was born in
Rewriting
September,
history.
so you know we're living in a world where we don't care for accuracies. Let's just crack on and enjoy it. But the best film for me any year, but particularly this year, Bad Santa. You just can't beat Bad Santa.
I think I've seen
You
that.
cannot beat that film.
I don't
is-
either.
No,
Have you not? Oh, you've got to go and see it, guys. Honestly,
you miss it out.
It is your
I'll go and watch it.
untypical Christmas film. It's not really got the Christmas message, although it has in a way that you don't quite see it. And it is literally, and I'm trying to think of Billy Bob Thornton's best film. I've never seen Billy Bob Thornton in anything where he's been more convincing, more accurate, more funny. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And Callie loves it as well. Look, there you go. Bad Santa. You also put. And this year particularly, where everything is like just effed up.
Yeah.
By the way, before we go, do we think football will continue now? I think it's only a matter of time before. Are you sure?
No,
I
it's
think it's a
gonna
matter of time before they.
They'll crack on.
They'll
They'll
invoke it
crack
again.
it on. They'll crack it on.
Mm.
They'll crack
It's
it
good-
on.
That's a good point, Luke. I don't know. I mean,
I'm not sure.
Different tiers across the country. I think if the whole
I
country
think-
went into a tier 4, it might be different. But
I think
whilst
let's
it's
be honest,
separated-
I think it's pretty invincible. There's going to be another lockdown in January now.
Mm,
I think that's really.
yeah, maybe.
I mean, I don't want to get too political on here, so I'm going to keep it short and sweet. But the thing I'd say, I don't think they really know what to do. But it's quite clear now. The only plan is the vaccine, and they're not rolling it out quick enough if that's their only plan.
Well, we're just going to have to
It
make sure
might.
we're in the top. If there is another lockdown, Luke, we have to make sure we're in the top 6 at least.
I
And put
think what
the
they'll
game
do
ratio.
is they'll.
Yeah.
But do you honestly think we're going to be in the top 6 though? Honestly,
No,
Well, I
probably
think
not.
what they'll do,
Probably
guys, what the plan will
Oh, I'm
actually be is
cheerful.
they'll get everybody to a certain. They'll get everybody to a certain number of games. So, for example, the current league table, they'll say, right, the most that we've played is 19. Portsmouth will stop on 19, and the rest of you will play until you've got 19 games played yourselves. They'll work a way around that because if Pompey are on 19, so are Burton Albion. So that's 2 teams out of the equation. They'll bring everybody up to say 19 in this instant, and then they'll do a PPG from there. So you might get an instance where Town are playing, and you've got to win this to get a
Games,
situation.
ain't it, guys? It's not even halfway through the season, is it?
Well, they should have cut the
Not that-
cups out, but they didn't.
Yeah.
And we are.
Oh yeah,
we're-
the Cubs are a killer.
we've played 3 Papa
No.
John's trophies where we could have played 3 league fixtures.
Yeah.
And it's mental. But there we go. Right, we're done. We're dusted. We're back on Boxing Day, hopefully. Mike's available for a Christmas Day chat. KBF, Sore Feet for the Beat. Links in the description. Available for a Christmas Day chat. I'm always available for a chat. I've got no mates, so call me up whenever you want. Matt's available. He does Harrods Tea. He'll be great.
have a
But
couple.
yeah.
Good
We're-
for
we're all-
Twitter.
yeah.
Talk about football manager. Don't mind talking about football manager. I do that pretty much all day, so I don't mind saying that for a bit more.
Yeah. So the important thing to think is you're never ever alone, even if you do feel alone. And of course, it's Christmas time. It's the time of year where desserts like this are acceptable. You've got cheese. You've got Christmas cake. You've got chocolate. That was my dessert last night. With a large glass of wine. This
have a beer
Christmas.
next to that. That'll be my
So
Christmas
that
dinner.
is why you wear. So that's why you're wearing a big baggy jumper to hide the.
Oi, there's nothing wrong with
Martin
Christmas cake. I've modelled myself off Jimmy Five
On
Pennies,
me,
if
yeah?
You must know. All right.
Yeah.
All right, that's Buddha is my temple. Anyway, we're done with Dustin. With love, with care.
Look, guys.
We'll see you
Yeah, guys.
on Boxing Day.
Have a good
Yeah,
one.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah.
Take care.
Take care, guys.
And welcome to Portman Road. This sound indicates an important announcement.